Hey, what's up, nation? Today I'm here with Dave from Pump Savages, and today we're going to be showing you guys some assistance lifts that are going to help you add 20 to 30 pounds to your max deadlift, bench, and squat.
So I've been powerlifting for a year and a half now. My numbers as of right now are a 425-pound squat, a 230-pound bench, and a 500-pound deadlift. I'm going to be doing a meet in October, and the numbers I'm looking to hit in this meet are a 440-pound squat, a 250-pound bench, and a 525-pound deadlift. These are some of the exercises that I've incorporated into my routines that have really helped me out along my journey to build a bigger squat, bench, and deadlift.
And for those of you guys who were following my journey last year, my goal was to get a 600-pound deadlift, and I got it up to 530, and that's when I actually pulled my bicep tendon in my left arm. But I didn't do it deadlifting, I did it lifting Atlas stones, which was really dumb, and it kind of ruined things for me. And so since that happened, I had to change my goal to be more about bodybuilding, and I'm trying to focus a bit more on increasing some lagging areas such as my traps and my calves and get a little bit more mass overall. I'm about 174, 175 pounds right now. I want to be a solid 180. So I'm more of like a power builder, you would call it, where I do incorporate these movements into my routine to make sure I'm staying strong, but I'm also focusing a bit more on high volume after I'm done with these assistance lifts. So we'll be talking about how you can incorporate these lifts into your current routine, whether you're focusing just on power lifting or you're doing more of a power builder like I'm doing now.
So before we start, I just want to take a minute to talk to you guys. With all these exercises, the sets and reps can vary. So I like to do a 5x5, some weeks I'll do a 3x3, and some weeks I'll do a pyramid set. So I'll do a 7-7-5-3-1, or I'll do a 5-3-1 style workout. And the rest in between these sets is going to be between 3 and 5 minutes max. You never want to go over 5 minutes when resting in between sets. So the first exercise we're going to demonstrate is the pause bench. The pause bench is great because it's going to work on the sticking point at the bottom half of the movement. So if you guys have problems with the bottom half and coming out of the hole, this is going to be a great exercise to help you strengthen that area up. So let's demonstrate an example of what it's going to look like. So you're going to come back and set up for the bench like you normally would for a bench press. You're going to unrack the weight, and from here you're going to slowly descend and come just above your chest, and from here you're going to explode up. And what this is doing is, this is recruiting more muscle fibers because you have the time under tension, you're holding the bar here for 1 to 3 seconds, and then you're exploding up. So from here, pause just above the chest, explode up, pause for 1 to 3 seconds, explode up. The next exercise we're going to demonstrate is the pin press. Now the pin press is great because it's going to work on that lockout strength. So how we have it set up here is we have it set up 6 inches above the chest. So I'm going to demonstrate for you guys how it's done. So you're going to set up like you would for a bench press, get into position, get everything queued up, and from here you're going to explode up, slowly descend, and after each one you want to reset yourself. You don't want to do any bounce reps, and then from here explode up again, down, explode up, down, explode up. Another cool thing with the pin press is you can have it actually lower on the rack as well. And what this is going to do, this is going to work on the bottom half of the movement as well, just like we demonstrated for the pause bench. But the only difference is you can load more weight with the pin press because you have it on the racks.
Now I'm going to demonstrate some exercises for you guys to help you increase your overall strength on your deadlift. And the first one's going to be a rack pull. Now, as you guys can see, I have this barbell set up on power racks. Now, just so you guys know, if I was doing this exercise, I would actually be facing towards the rack while I'm doing it. I'm just facing you guys for filming purposes. Now, if you don't have power racks, you can use blocks as well. Just make sure whatever blocks you're using are strong enough to handle the amount of weight that you're going to put on the barbell. Because when doing this exercise, you're going to lift more weight than you normally would when doing a traditional deadlift off the floor, because we're already starting halfway up. So I like to work this movement just below the knees. You guys can change the height of these power racks. Some people like to work on the movement strictly from above the knee to the lockout. It's going to be up to you. I recommend playing with both versions of the exercise. So to get into position for the rack pull, what you're going to do is you're going to approach the barbell, and you want to make sure you have the same exact form, the same exact stance that you have when you do your traditional deadlift. The reason being is, if the whole point of this exercise is to help you increase your max lift, if you change your stance and then go back to the deadlift off the floor, it's going to be like a totally different exercise. You're not working the muscles the same way. So get into the same exact position. So I stand with my feet about shoulder width apart. Get both hands on the barbell. Make sure you guys are keeping your arms straight. You're flexing your lats. Keep a neutral spine. And then once you're in position, you're going to explosively pull the barbell off the racks. And then push your hips through at the top just like this. As soon as you get to the top, back to the racks. Make sure the weight comes to a complete stop. Depending on the barbell and how much weight you have, it might wobble a bit for a second. You don't want to utilize that wobble for a bounce. If you come up to the top and then bounce the weight back up, you're defeating the whole purpose of the exercise. So, nice strong stance. I personally like to reset after every single repetition. Push through your feet, extend your hips forward, and do an explosive pull to the top of the movement, and repeat for reps. The next exercise is the deficit deadlift, and what this is going to help you with is your explosive power off the floor. So for those of you guys who have a hard time getting the weight off the floor but are okay with your lockout, this is definitely a movement you want to start working with in order to increase your overall max. Now you guys will notice I'm standing on a plate. This plate is actually 2.5 inches thick. When you're first starting out with this, I recommend using a much smaller plate, so maybe at least a 1/2 inch or 1 inch off the ground. And the reason being is because this movement requires more flexibility. Obviously, you have to get down really deep. Because I'm 2.5 inches off the ground, that means I have to sit lower in order to grab the barbell. But with that being said, if you guys have a really hard time with pushing through your hips and activating your glutes and hamstrings on the deadlift, maybe a lot of you guys are deadlifting like this and you're turning it into like a 1-2 motion. Because you have to force yourself to sit deeper, this is going to really teach you how to sit back on your heels and utilize more glutes and hamstrings in the movement, which is going to make your deadlift stronger overall anyway. So lots of benefits to this movement. So what you're going to do is stand how you normally would for your deadlift form, and then once you're into position, you're going to reach down, grab the barbell, keep everything nice and tight, keep your core tight, maintain a neutral spine, arms are locked, back is flexed, and then push up to the top of the movement and repeat for reps. Come to a complete stop at the bottom of the movement, no bouncing. Explode through the hips, push through the heels, and repeat until you complete your entire set. The last lift we're going to show you guys some exercises for to help improve your overall max is the squat. And the first exercise is going to be a box squat. And to perform this movement, you're going to need something to sit on that's going to be sturdy enough to handle your weight plus how much weight is on the barbell. Keep in mind when you do this exercise, you're going to be lifting more weight than you normally would. That's the whole point of this movement, is to overload the bar, overload your muscles, and then work on the top portion of the squat. So you'll notice that this box, the way it's set up right now, is at about a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to sit like this and then come back up. You can adjust the box height to be a little higher if you need to, depending on which part of the squat you want to work on. But for overall development with this exercise, to really work on the top portion of the movement, you want to make it so it's at least 90 degrees. So to perform the exercise, you're going to get into position like you normally would for your squats, and you want to have the box directly behind you. I just don't for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to get in front of the box just like this. And then once you're in place, you're going to sit back, sit on the box, rest for 1 second, and then push through the heels, explode through the hips, and come to the top of the movement. So really control that form, pause for a second, come back up. You guys don't want to use the box as a bouncing platform to bounce your ass off of to get to the top of the movement. Defeats the whole purpose of the exercise. Always be in control and make sure you have clean reps.
The last exercise we're going to be performing is the pause squat. Now the pause squat is great because it's going to work on that sticking point at the bottom half of the motion. So if you guys have a tough time at the bottom half with some heavy weight, I definitely recommend incorporating this into your routine. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to walk over to the barbell like you normally would for a squat. You want to set up underneath the bar. I squat low bar depending on your preference. You can squat high bar or low bar. So you're going to get into position. You're going to squat down. You're going to sit for 1 to 3 seconds and then explode out of the hole. Come all the way down. Explode out of the hole. So one last thing, guys. When you're in the sticking point, Make sure you're keeping a tight core. If you don't keep a tight core when doing this, you're gonna risk spinal flexion and you're gonna risk having an injury.
All right, guys, I hope these assistance lifts help you improve your max deadlift, squat, and bench. If you have any questions, obviously make sure you leave them down in the comment section below. What I'm gonna do for you guys is put a link to a program called Compound Corruption down in the info section. It's actually a program built by Mike Rosa from Anabolic Aliens. He's actually a record-holding power lifter, so you can learn a lot from him, and it's a great program that focuses strictly on powerlifting. And for those of you who want to do more of a power builder routine, kind of like what I'm doing, I'll put a link to my push-pull legs program down in the info section below as well.
If you guys want to keep up with my journey with powerlifting, be sure to check out my channel. Scott will have that link down below. And as always, guys,
More good stuff coming soon.
we'll see you guys.